Okay, so the next thing that I'm going to do is open this global.css here, copy it to the new window, and let's add this HTML, comma, root, and then I'm going to add the height 100% so that the pages will be 100%. Okay, and here in our page.tsx, which is located in source app directory. By the way, this page.tsx, which is located in that path that appear, is the landing page. Now I'm going to remove that and replace it with main tab. Landing page. And one thing that I realized, instead of using Chrome, since most of the time I'm using Edge, I can open a private page instead, so that there will be no extension, and then visit the localhost 3000, and as you can see, the errors that pop up in this area is now gone, and we can see also the landing page being rendered at the center. And then let's add this heightful flex column, item center, and justify center. Okay, so here in our browser, it is now at the very center of the viewport. Okay, so let's improve this a little. Let's add a background, and inside this way you can customize your background, and let's add radial gradient. Actually, that suggestion is the one that I'm intended to do. So this radial gradient accepts two parameters. So let's use ellipse at the top, comma, and then bar. This bar is a function that accepts, it should be underscore, and then here starting color from sky 400 to blue 800, and it's not working. Let's go back here in the page.tsx, remove this unnecessary here. So let's go back here in the landing page. Notice that even though we have classes here which says create a background radial gradient with this ellipse at top, meaning there is an ellipse at top, and then the second parameter is bar TW gradient stops. Actually, this TW gradient stops doesn't exist, so we need a global CSS open, and let's define this variable. Let's define it in root TW gradient stops, and then the value. Now let's define a bar TW gradient from, comma, variable, and right here TW gradient to RGBA 0 semicolon, and then down below let's define in the body a variable tw gradient from with this value equivalent to sky blue. Let's just duplicate that and change from to 2 and sky blue and blue. So now we have this from and gradient to. I have a mistake here. Let's remove this customization. The reason that this background that you will see here did not display earlier is because Next.js did not automatically refresh the page, so I just refreshed it and it then take effect. Alright, and here let's add a div with a class name space y. Let's choose this 6 here and let's move the landing page. Okay, let's erase that and then replace that with the h1 and type in out. And here in the browser we can see the out. And let's have this a class of font bold, text white. I think there is font semi bold, and let's make that 6XL and drop shadow. Let's choose this MD. Okay, here's looking good in our browser, the out. Alright, the next thing is let's type P and make this a simple authentication service, and let's add class name. Alright, so let's remove that. Let's remove this drop shadow text white. Let's remove that and text LG. Alright, so I'm gonna move that there and move there so we can see side by side. So let's add a, let's say, a background. To figure out this one as well, background. That one. We have now an idea that we can do something like text center. Alright, now let's try adding a background here. Some red, and we can also add a padding of 4, rounded MD. That's our we can also do that here instead of centering there. Let's make it center in the parent. so that this a simple authentication service text will be included. And I think we can also capitalize, right? Capitalize, and you can also add some lock. There you go, but I think it's a little bit weird because the size of the lock is not aligned with the, or maybe we can wrap this with span and move this there, and by using some inspect element we can figure out, let's say, the width 0 px, inline property. So let's try display block invalid. So there's no property, so let's remove that for now. It's not aligned with the text. So let's remove. Let's stick with the old word. Okay, let's import the appends here. Appends from next Google, and let's define that appends using the appends function. Let's change this to font, and let's use that subsets Latin. Let's add a weight here. Weight, let's keep the 600, and let's remove this for now. And utils, let's import the cn from libctils. Okay, and then this class name in RH1 is for now a string. Let's make this an object and then wrap it with cn. Alright, and then in the second parameter, let's use that font class name so that our font will be appends. Okay, let's move it to the left, and something is not right here. Constant font and for cn. Try again. Okay, let's wrap this with cn again. Cn. Sometimes when I have a changes in the editor, it will not reflect right away on the browser. So refresh. And in the second parameter of cn, we can use the font that class name, so that the font of this will be Poppins, and you can see here the class is Poppins. No, I mean the font family. We can see now it's Poppins. So let's close that. So what is CN? So CN is defined in our utils from shadcn. So CN is defined in our utils.ts files located in source lib utils. So remember when I installed shadcn, this file was created with this function. So let's understand this function cn defined in our utils. What's the use of this? So this code defines a helper function cn, short for class name, that simplifies constructing CSS class names, particularly in project using Tailwind CSS. It leverages two libraries, CLSX, this one, CLSX. This library conditionally concatenates CSS classes. It's useful when you want to apply a class only a condition, if a condition is met. For example, you have this class name, base class is active class. So the base class and active class, if this variable here is true, and then display the class active class and base class. Otherwise, if this is false, then only this will show to the class name. Tailwind merge, designed for Tailwind CSS. This library intelligently merges class names. It handles Tailwind syntax and ensures classes are combined correctly, respecting Tailwind's ordering convention. This prevents conflicts and ensures styles are applied as expected. So this CLSX allows you to apply conditionals on classes, which classes will be displayed based on the given condition. And twmerge is responsible for merging the result of this function CLSX, adhering to the Tailwind ordering convention, preventing conflicts and ensure styles are applied as expected. So the CN takes a variable number of arguments. So it can be, so the moment we use this CN in our React components, it can accept multiple classes. Class value can be a string, an array of strings, an object with class name as case, and boolean values indicating whether to apply the class. If object, so here an object class name, something like this. If you have like p, the key is the class name, so p4, then the value can either be false or true. Indicating whether to apply the class, a combination of this. This function CLSX to process the input argument, conditionally concatenating them. The results is passed to twmerge, which merges the class string, optimizing it for Tailwind. Finally, the merged class is returned. Essentially, this function provides a concise and efficient way to manage complex class names in your component, especially with Tailwind CSS. It lets you use CLSX conditional logic and ensure the resulting classes are correctly merged according to Tailwind guidelines. So that's the reason why we are using that here, so that this classes here can be merged with the classes given in this object. The font has a property, and I think it is a string that returns a class name. Okay, now the next thing is we can use the button we used earlier, like that, learn more. But instead of learn more, we can use, I want to use sign in, or yeah, use sign in. The variant is secondary and the size is large. And let's move it to the left, and we can see here the sign in auth. So we have now a layout auth, a simple authentication service, sign in. So BG, we can use BG white here so that it will be white. And in this one, let's remove this tone 500, and let's remove this BG slate 400. Let's remove this text white, and also this text white here. Alright, so we have now that simple form, or auth, simple authentication service. Okay, before going into more layouts, I'm going to dig deeper in understanding this button variant. Remember, this button variant was installed in our source directory components UI when I ran the command given in shadcm. So here I have an explanation here about this button. If we inspect this file, all we can see is import, and there is a variable declared here and a function cva which takes some parameters, two parameters only, string and an object, and the second parameter is the variance. And in that variant object, there is also a variant containing a default key, destructive, outline, secondary, ghost, link, and it contains tailwind classes. So when we type here, this is the button component, and when we use the variant props with the value of secondary, we are calling this secondary here, and this is the style of the secondary. The same goes to the property size, and you can give some value, default sm. Don't this one, I just added this one. Default, if not given by this variance, then it will fall back to default variance. So this is an interface, button props interface there. So to be able to understand, when we call button, we basically call this button, and this is the one being exported here, button and button variance. So it declares a constant button variable with the value of this return, the return of this function, and also set the property button for the display name property of the button. So to dig deeper, React that forward ref, and it says here that this is the magic that lets you get the reference to actual button element in the document object model, and it has a customizable props, class name, variant size as child, styling, button variant. The component likely uses a styling helper function, button variant, and potentially library like class variance, authority, or tailwind merge that comes from outside this code. Conditional rendering, this code decide whether to render standard HTML button element or a special stat component based on as child prop. So to understand this, this HTML element, there are two parameters here for this forward ref, HTML button and button props. This is the properties that will be accepted in this button, and the target button on the HTML DOM, which is in this case the button, this button here. And then here, since this is a function, it accepts so React that forward ref, create a forward ref component, and this parameter here refers to the target DOM element, and then this one specifies the acceptable props for this component or function. And this part here is the component's function signature. It has two parameters, this group here, which defines class name, variant, size as child, and other properties that might be using. The other one is the reference. This is an object that will be attached to the underlying button element. And inside the function, we have this const comp as child. So if this is true, then use the slot, or else use button. And then it returns the comp, button variants, and then the cn that we understand earlier, and then the ref, and then the props. And going back here, so this is how we use the button. Okay, so that's it for today. To wrap up, we improved our page TSX and we created this old simple authentication service. So in the next episode of this video, we're going to continue to improve this code. So stay tuned and thank you for watching. See you in the next video.